Hey guys, were you aware that you can actually invest the funds inside of your VEBA account? It's true. I recently dropped the information in an email a few weeks back, and people were just blowing up my inbox with the fact that they didn't know that this is an option. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you step by step on how to get your funds in VEBA invested so they can grow and potentially earn you more money to use for your healthcare. All right, so the first thing you want to do is go to VEBA.org. Once you're here, this is the homepage. You want to go ahead and click on investments. And I'll put the link to this in the description below. And they'll kind of give you instructions on how to actually place the trades in your account. So what you need to know first is that there are two paths you can take. You can do a premix, which is essentially like a target date fund, or you're able to do it yourself. Now, there's really not many investment options in the do-it-yourself option, but there's a couple advantages to it. So first, let's take a look at the premix options. So they offer 4 pre-built portfolios for you to choose from. If you click into any one of these, they're going to open up a fact card so you can see what that portfolio currently holds. So this is the VEBA growth portfolio, and you can see what it actually holds inside are just 4 fidelity funds. There's a US bond fund, an international bond fund, total market, which is like a large cap fund, and international. So what this portfolio is missing is access to small and mid cap funds. Now, one of the best performing asset classes are the small cap sector. So it's always nice to have some exposure to that in your portfolios. So in these ones, they don't have access to those. So you can choose from any one of these 4 options, and it's actually the same 4 fidelity funds in any one of these you choose. So I drop down here to the income fund. You can see that here we go. We have the same exact fidelity funds. They just have a different portion of it. This is basically 80% fixed, 20% equity. There's nothing crazy that they're designing here. It's kind of a one-stop, get it invested, and be on your way. So this is one option you guys have to get your funds invested. The second, and the one that I typically prefer, is custom building out your own portfolio. These pre-built portfolios don't know you and your time horizon or your risk level. They're just built as, 80-20, 60-40 portfolios. When you do it yourself, you can control how much risk you want to take in those. You can move in and out of the funds as much as you want. So options you have here is a stable fund. This is basically cash. Performance has been about 2% or so. So you're not going to be rich off of it, but it's a stable option without actually participating in the market. That option doesn't exist in any of these other portfolios up here. Then you have a total bond return fund. So this invests in a series of different bonds. And then you got Vanguard for the large cap solution, mid cap option, and here you go, a small cap option, as I mentioned earlier. And then you have some international exposure. So when you do it yourself, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to allocate your portfolio, how much you want to put in small or mid, and vice versa. Now, one thing you need to know before you go ahead and invest in this is there are fees that apply. So if you click on this investment fund overview, it's going to bring you up this page that kind of gives you the recap of all your options. So you can see option A is the different portfolios, how much they charge as an expense ratio, and their percentage of return. Down here, you can see the build it yourself portfolios, all the options there, fees, and their performance history. So one thing to know is it's always important to read the fine print. So you can see it says expenses and fees here. Returns here are net of funded operating expenses. That means the return you're seeing here is after they take away this little fee over here. However, there are other fees built into this. So if we look here, it says they do not include management fees or 12(1)(b) distribution fees. So the way these fees work is they charge you 1% if your account's less than $10,000 or on your first $10,000. Any amount that's over that get charged at 0.75%. So if I have $9,000 in the account, I pay 1%. If I have $11,000 in the account, I pay 1% on my first $10,000, and only that additional $1,000 is charged at the 0.75%. This is what they call a tiered fee schedule. Now, what's crazy here is that's typically what most advisors charge when they actually manage and give advice on people's retirement accounts. Now, the fact that VEBA is charging a 1% fee despite not giving any type of advice, there's no tax planning, financial planning, they don't know anything other than the VEBA account itself, is crazy in my opinion. I'm really not sure how they can charge a 1% fee and do nothing to justify it. That's something you got to take up with them. The other fee built into this, because yes, there are more, is they charge you $1.50 per month if your account is less than $5,000. If you're just getting started, you got $1,000 in here, you're going to pay $1.50 per month in administrative expenses plus a 1% administration fee. And it doesn't matter if you choose option A, the premix build, or you're choosing option B and doing it yourself. So those fees can't be avoided, unfortunately, if you're using the VEBA account. Now, as far as building out your portfolio, what do I choose? How do I invest it? It all depends on your time horizon and when you expect to spend the money. If you're still relatively young, go ahead and be a little more aggressive with it. You got time to grow. If you're getting close to retirement and you're thinking you're going to use this, especially if you need the money to kind of help fill the gap years between retiring at 62, for example, and until Medicare starts at 65, this is often a common place that people use to fund that. If you're going to be using the funds, you want to be fairly safe. You don't want to see your health account crash if the market goes down, and now you have to figure out how am I going to pay for medical. So one way to determine how much you should be invested in where is to kind of use the rule of 100. So the rule of 100 is just a simple way to kind of figure out roughly how much in equity, how much in fixed income or bonds. So basically take the number 100, subtract your age. The remaining difference there is how much should be in equities. So if I'm 60 years old, 100 minus 60 gives me 40. I should have 40% in equities, and the remaining 60% should be in fixed income. And this is pretty easy. You only have two options for the fixed income side. You have the total return bond and the stable cash account balance. Personally, I would take maybe a portion of it that you think you need for any kind of emergencies or maybe 1 year medical, keep that in cash. The rest can be into some kind of a bond, so earn you hopefully a little bit more interest. You can see last year the bond fund lost 1%. Just because they are low risk, this doesn't mean they don't lose money. It just means they're not as volatile as the equities itself. As far as the remaining portion of it, know that large cap equities typically offer you more stable growth because these are the bigger companies out there. Smaller companies have more room for growth. That's why they've been one of the better performing asset classes over the years, but they also can draw down quite a bit when the market goes south. So if you're getting closer to 60, having some more money in large cap equity, slightly less in mid cap, and then maybe the smallest portion in small cap to kind of help diversify your risk levels. International can kind of be somewhere in between, even match it with your mid cap. And then the international fund here can kind of fall somewhere in between there. Now, if you're looking for professional investment advice on exactly how much percentage I should put in each one of these categories and when should I shift them, that's something that we built out for you in our Scenic Plan Confidence system. So that came from a request from one of our participants that mentioned VEBA and wanting an advice, so we added it to the system. So Scenic Plan Confidence is the system that we built that gives ongoing advice to people in Plan 3 and DCP accounts. Even if you have an advisor, that's totally fine. This just helps advise the investment accounts in there because chances are they aren't giving you quarterly advice on how to invest those funds. So that's what the service does. And now we added VEBA to that as well. If you're interested in checking it out, the link is in the description below. All right, so hope that helps you guys out. I'll see you guys next week. Remember that your future depends on what you do today.